Shalom, Kahala, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bahashim, Kakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops and GMS, including the elders that came before them and taught us this truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. I'm the brother Yashawan, back with the WW3 Daily update. Shalom and salutations to you as well. All right, so we're going to try to keep it quick. All right. It's Mark 4:22. For there is nothing hid which shall not be manifested, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad. Let's read it in the NLT. For everything that is hidden will eventually be brought into the open, and every secret thing will be brought to light. For whatever is hidden is meant to be disclosed, and whatever is concealed is meant to be brought out into the open. All right? Well, what was hidden? This is the Hill 4 days ago. Russia demands NATO emergency meeting over Nord Stream sabotage. More than enough evidence. All right, the Nord Stream bombing, taking down that pipeline, was nothing less than an act of overt terrorism. Okay? Now, who was it? Whoever did it to who? Whoever did it to the European Union. So if that would be Babylon the Great that did that to the European Union, they didn't do it to Russia. They did it to the European, to their own allies. Understand the dynamics of that. All right? They shall burn her with fire. They're going to turn on. Let's watch this. Get a couple of precepts at the end. Keep it short. All right.
Russia is demanding NATO hold an emergency summit to discuss Seymour Hersh's reporting that the Nord Stream pipeline was intentionally sabotaged by the U.S. A spokeswoman for the Russian Foreign Ministry said in a statement, quote, "There are more than enough facts here. The explosion of the pipeline, the presence of a motive, circumstantial evidence obtained by journalists. So when will an emergency NATO summit meet to review the situation?"
Though the White House slammed claims that the CIA blew up the pipeline as, quote, utterly false and complete fiction, Hersh reports that the orders came directly from President Biden himself. What do you make of this story, Robbie?
Well, we talked about this a few days ago. Brianna and I talked about it. Seymour Hersh is a very credible journalist who's done a lot of terrific work in the past. His work is not beyond criticism. It has been criticized for inaccuracies as well. But that doesn't discredit this. This is impressive reporting, and also, you know, he's filling in gaps for something the U.S. itself said. Right, there was the statement from U.S. officials that the ominous kind of suggestion that something would happen to have Nord Stream 2 not function. So, with all that in mind, and of course, you know, the U.S. has a long history of, like many other governments, of sabotage and interference and all sorts of things. You know, the additional details that it was this diving team based out of Florida all sounds very plausible to me. However, the Substack post where he published it, you know, he's relying on what seems to be, from my reading of it, a single unnamed source. So that maybe this is a very knowledgeable person who is like unimpeachable, but I can't evaluate that because I don't know who it is. And also because he just published this on Substack, it wasn't, you know, like published by the New Republic or the New York Times or Reason Magazine or Newsweek, right? You or I, as an editor, didn't get to say, well, who was this source? You know, you don't have to publicly disclose it, but you have to tell the editor so they know. Like, it didn't do any of that. So because of all that, I can only take it. It can only take me so far in thinking that, you know, this kind of changes the narrative or makes it more likely that the U.S. did it. What's your thinking?
We're giving away these gold bars absolutely free.
Yeah, I mean, a single unnamed source, right, is not the standard we generally think of for the best quality journalism, although I have no problem with him publishing it. If a source told him that, of course, I believe 100% that he was told this by the source. I don't think he made that up, right? That he
Yeah.
has every right to publish that. And, you take it with a grain of salt, right? Like, and a single unnamed source told him this. Okay, fine. I will say of the four potential culprits here, Russia, the U.S., the Ukraine, and some other NATO country. The U.S. is sort of low on the list for me of people who really have a motive here. Maybe just above Russia, but certainly far below Ukraine. Now we don't have that enough information to say, so I don't want to like make a speculation here. But I've never been convinced that we had a strong motive to do this. I don't. This doesn't strike me as characteristic of President Biden. We've been talking today a lot about how muddled his foreign policy has been, and this action would have been the kind of thing that I think somebody with much more of an appetite for big statements on the foreign policy front would have done. All of that, all of which but is to say, I don't think there's anything wrong with there being a NATO investigation into it. It does.
See this? See that right there? That's a problem. You know what else is a problem? The day that the Nord Stream pipeline was bombed, the same day a new pipeline opened in Norway, the new Norway pipeline. Let's see. Let's see if we can find that. I mean, we can watch. You can watch the rest of this if you want to. 4 days ago, The Hill, right? Russia demands NATO emergency meeting. Okay, let's look for this. Norway opens new gas. Norway, Poland opened new gas pipeline. And what day was it? 4 months ago. 4 months ago. 9. Let's see. Resumes. How long ago? Let's see. Norway and Poland opened new gas pipeline as Nord Stream leaks. Leaks or was bombed? What's going on there? Okay, 4 months ago. When was the pipeline bombing? Nord Stream bombing. You see how the devil works? You gotta see what he says and how he's uh, concealing it, how he's presenting it. Let's see, Nord Stream bombing. And let's get the time. What day was it? Nord Stream bombing, September. How many months ago? Isn't that ironic? On 26 September, a series of clandestine bombings and subsequent underwater gas leaks on the Nord Stream. Okay, so September 26th, that's at the end of September, so that's roughly October. Okay, so let's count back. They said 4. Okay, so there's September 26th there. Now let's put in Poland, what? Norway, Poland? Gas pipeline. Norway, Poland, Baltic pipeline. What day? October 1st. That is a little too close, yeah? Yeah? How close is that? gas starts flowing to pipeline within days of the Nord Stream being blown up. Does that make sense? Look, see that? October 1st. Gas starts flowing to Poland through a new Baltic pipeline from Norway via Denmark and the Baltic Sea. Reuters. Okay? Do we have to click into it? Nord Stream bombing. On 26 September, a series of clandestine bombings. Okay? How many days is that? 5? You see that? What do you have to know? Okay? What do you have to know? Who benefits? Qui bono. Qui bono. How do you say that? Qui, let's see. Q-U-I-B-O. Bono, meaning, definition. Who stands or stood to gain from a crime and so might have been responsible for it. Shall I spell it out for you? Babylon the Great. Let's go right back here. Let's go right back here.
Russia is demanding NATO hold an emergency summit to discuss Seymour Hersh's reporting that the Nord Stream pipeline was intentionally sabotaged by the U.S.
Okay. There it is. And what is the Most High doing? What is God doing? I'm going to close on this right here. Isaiah 13 and 17. Behold, I, that's the Most High, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, will stir up the Medes against them. The Medes are the Russians. God, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, is stirring up the Russians against them. Who is them? The Babylonians. Who are the Babylonians? The Americans. Listen again.
Russia is demanding NATO hold an emergency summit to discuss Seymour Hersh's reporting that the Nord Stream pipeline was intentionally sabotaged by the U.S.
And with that, we hope that the elect are edified. You brothers and few sisters, that's the World War III Daily Update for today. Get ready for the fireworks. All right, with that, shalom.